Hi! At the end of November I came up with a brilliant idea for how to decorate my Christmas tree this year. And as you've probably guessed from the title, I'll be making it in the style of Deadpool and Wolverine. Most of the decorations are handmade, so let me show you how it all came together. First things first, it's always important to check if the lights are working. Last year I bought 2 fairy light reels, 100 meters each. I plugged in the first one, it worked perfectly, but the second one was dead. Back then, each reel cost me 30 euros. And well, that's where the filming stopped, there just weren't enough lights. Alright, no way I did my makeup for nothing. Let's at least set up the tree. For this I can't do without my main assistant, controller Poof. Nothing happens in this house without his approval. We're fluffing the branches while listening to a Christmas playlist, so the mood is full on jingle bells. I especially recommend a playlist with Disney songs, it instantly feels like you're back in Disneyland. We got the tree set up pretty quickly and I solved the light problem the next day. In Latvia it's really hard to find these kind of lights and big stores don't carry them at all. I just wanted to replace the 100 meters that burned out, but the seller said the colors might not match, so I had to buy a single 200 meter reel. It cost me 52 euros. For everyone who is worried about wrapping the lights because they will be hard to untangle later, let me show you how it's done. Wrap the lights starting at the base of a branch and working toward the tip. Don't twist the wire tightly around the branch and 2-3 lights per branch is enough. Then, guide the wire back to the base of the next branch. This way, when it's time to take down the tree at the end of the season, all you need to do is gently pull the lights and they will come off easily. The tree is ready and now it's time for the fun part, making the ornaments. I didn't plan to go overboard, but I still wanted every decoration to reflect the tree's heroes. Now let's start with the bubbles. For this, I bought 2 boxes of them, which cost me 6 euros for both. I decided to decorate them with different stickers and my cutting plotter was a huge help with that. The first one, and I really think it turned out amazing, was a bubble with Deadpool's eyes. To make the glossy black vinyl stand out, I chose a matte bubble as the base, highlighting his eyes perfectly. Next I ran into the problem. The sticker is flat, but the bubble? Oh, surprise, it's round. At first I made small cuts along the creases and overlapped the edges to stick them down. Then I realized that vinyl adjusts to shapes really well when heated. So for the rest of the creases I used warm air from a hair dryer and most of the folds smoothed out completely. I also ordered round transparent acrylic discs, 10 cm in diameter with a hole for a string. Flat surfaces are of course much easier to work with for a neat look. So I decided to add some quotes from the movie to these and chose gold-colored vinyl for the text. Acrylic blanks usually come with protective films because they're easy to scratch. It's a pretty obvious thing, but lots of people complain to sellers that their acrylic looks cloudy or dirty when they receive it. So, before applying the sticker, you need to peel off the protective film. Then, you can transfer the text onto the surface. I pressed the sticker down firmly to make sure it sticks well. Remove the backing film and tie a ribbon through the hole to hang it on the tree. I keep the ribbon short, it makes decorating easier later, and I cinch the edges of the ribbon to prevent fraying. I repeat the same process with the other discs and bubbles. Inspired by this year's Hear Me Out trend, where people use printed cutouts of their favorite characters or crushes to decorate cakes, I thought, why not do the same for my Christmas tree? This way I can quickly, cheaply and pretty effectively decorate the tree with actual photos of Deadpool and Wolverine. I ordered prints on the thickest cardboard available, 3 color pages in total, and it cost me 4.23 euros. I think this is a great solution for a themed tree that's meant for just one season. Covering the whole tree with pictures might feel too cheap and simple, but as few accent pieces it works perfectly. To finish, I outlined the edges with a black marker to hide the white cut lines. It's a small detail, but it makes a big difference in how polished the decorations look. Of course, I 3D printed the ornaments as well. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't want to overcomplicate things, so I searched for 3D models online. I chose the simplest designs, and almost all of them were free. The first print took 14 hours. Out of all the models, the only one I paid for was the Deadpool's head in a Christmas hat, an overwhelming 60 cents. I carefully removed the prints from the base to avoid dropping or damaging anything. Well, next I removed the supports and thoroughly cleaned the parts to get rid of any excess resin. Before applying the outer layer, I dried the pieces using an airbrush to remove any remaining water. After cleaning, I make sure to thoroughly cure the inside of the print with the UV flashlight so the resin doesn't slowly drip down the walls over time. My husband had been asking for this for a while, so now was the perfect time. I decided to print Wolverine's mask. I saved the files, loaded them into the printer and went to bed knowing the print would take almost a full day. The next morning, halfway through the print, I discovered that one of Wolverine's sideburns hadn't printed for some reason. The second sideburn did print, but it came out wonky. Honestly, when you're learning this hobby, you have to be prepared for things to go wrong all the time. So, I decided to print the sideburns separately and just glue them onto the mask later, no big deal. To make the mask lighter, since it will need to hang on the tree, I printed it hollow. That meant I also had to carefully cure the inside with UV light to ensure it was fully set. I sanded down the rough edges from the print, and in honor of the furriest member of our family, I also printed Peggy, aka Dogpool. The next step is painting, so I start by covering the area around me. Airbrushes spray a lot of paint and it tends to settle everywhere. To save time on unnecessary cleanup, it's easier to prepare for the mess in advance. But first, I printed new parts for Wolverine's mask. After removing the crooked old pieces, I test fit the newly printed ones. I sand down any bumps and excess material with a sanding machine to create a smooth surface for gluing, then carefully attach the pieces together. I also sand the other 3D printed figures using both the machine sander and hand sanding for precision. Before starting the actual painting, it's important to apply a good primer to the pieces. This helps the paint stick better. I apply several layers of primer and then let it dry for about 12 hours. Knowing how much my husband was waiting for Wolverine's mask, I decided to start with it. For the yellow part of the mask, I first lightened the base and then painted it pink. Yellow is a tricky color to work with, so it's important to use the right undercoat. In this case, pink works best. The pinker the base, the brighter and richer the yellow will turn out. Although I must admit the pink version looked pretty cool too though. Next I covered any overspray from the airbrush with black paint and moved on to the stage where I'd create a bottle damaged effect. To add scratches to the mask, I used silver paste. I dipped the tip of a toothpick into the paste and gently scratched the surface in the areas marked on the 3D model. I also added scuffs along the edges and the sharpest details. This process is both fun and a little risky. It's easy to get carried away and overdo it. so you have to stay focused and not ruin the piece by going too far. For the yellow parts I added a dusty dirty effect to give it more character and a worn look. Next on my plan were the pendants for the best friends. For everything yellow I followed the same process as with mask. I wasn't too careful with the black and white parts because I knew the outline would be covered with silver paint anyway. For the black parts of the mask, I applied a clear layer of resin to give them a nice shine, which I think is quite fitting for a Christmas decoration. It hardens under ultraviolet light. After painting Deadpool's head in the standard red and black shades, the last piece to be transformed was Peggy. I specifically printed her version with glasses rather than without to avoid painting the eyes. The dog itself is a pale pink color, but to avoid making it look too sickly, I first laid down a layer of red and only then applied a light pink flesh tone on top. I work on the detail using brown, red and black shades. Then I move on to the black parts of her costume and the glasses. I make the tongue pinker, the bags more brown, and I want to add a glossy shine to the glasses using the same clear resin. I drill a hole in her back, screw in a hook, glue it in place, and hang it on a string. I've had gold leaf lying around for a while, but I never found the right moment to try it out, so this detail was perfect for my experiment. There is a special glue for this, which needs to be applied and left to dry for 30 minutes. After the first layer, I felt like it wasn't enough, so I decided to add another layer just in case. That was a mistake, because the second layer created ugly unevenness, which the thin gold leaf followed. I brushed off the excess and now everything around is covered in gold. For the katana, I repeated the experiment, learning from my previous mistake and applying only one layer of glue. Now everything is covered in gold and silver. Now let me show you what I ordered online. First of all, these very cool life-size Wolverine claws. They cost only €9.39, I'll leave the link in the description. The second thing I ordered is Wolverine's silver tag. It cost only around €1 and it's a great purchase for just a few cents. I'll also leave the link in the description. Well, I think I'm officially done with the preparation. Excluding the printing, it took me about a week to make all of this. I think without filming it would have taken around 5 days, which is pretty quick for creating all the decorations from scratch. I spent about €30 on all these materials, purchases and printing, not including the new lights. That's just a little extra and doesn't count. Now it's time to decorate the tree. It was so exciting, I kept feeling like something was still missing, but I honestly did everything I wanted. I think I captured all the main details, and the best part is that they all come together perfectly. Here is the final result. I think the theme of the tree is immediately clear, and it's so hard to capture how it looks in real life through video. In person it's even 10 times cooler. The best part is knowing that it's all handmade and done with love every time I walk past it. By the way, we still haven't figured out what to put on the top of the tree, so please share your ideas in the comments. Also, let me know if you like the tree and if there are any decorations missing or things I could add to it. I'd really appreciate if you subscribe to this channel, it motivates me to make more interesting videos and share them with you. Now I'm off to work on the next project, so see you in the next videos. For now, bye bye!